clock is ticking. The clock knows your name. The clock is life. Your name is death. The clock is death. The clock is counting down to your death. If you're watching the clock, you are watching death approach. Death is approaching like a race car crashing into another race car. Look out, cave dweller. Here it comes. It's time to watch the Skrauss paint. I don't know why you'd want to watch the Skrauss paint, but here it is. We are here on the clock of death. When we get to here, we get to here, there'll be maybe an anime review, maybe a review of a book I'm reading. We'll find out. When it gets down to here, we'll talk about current events, or I may switch these up and do it vice versa. This is when I start wrapping things up so that we can be done by here, so that I can have a nice, coherent, hour-long show for, Now, let's set this clock conveniently over here by this naked mannequin as we light the affectations. Stand by, cave dweller. Enjoy this view of my palette and my phone on my palette as I get water. Cold pressed, not from concentrate. Burn some of this label for the affectations. All right, we'll see what the affectations have to say. Ishur Legua, come and help us. Open the gates of our hearts so that we can solve our problems and overcome our issues. Senora Guadalupe, goddess of chthonic goddess, chthonic. C-H-T-H. It's a C-H-T-H word. Means going between the worlds. Land of the dead. Hermes was chthonic. Actually, no, chthonic means from the underworld. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm only using half-assed memories. This episode of the Skrauss Doing Stuff Live is brought to you by this bottle of cherry juice concentrate that I found in storage at Revision Gallery. Revision provision for end times like now. I'm going to dump out the coffee that's in Disco Jesus and fill it with this kind of juice, and maybe it'll clean me out. No sugar added. Let's see. Ingredients. Contains only juice pressed from fresh, whole, ripe, dark, sweet, black cherries. How many adjectives can you shove into an ingredients label? I didn't know that adjectives were even allowed in ingredients labels. I thought you just had to put the item. But no, it's not just cherries. It's juice pressed from fresh, whole, ripe, dark, sweet, black cherries. That's 6 adjectives. 6 adjectives and a noun. Team Cave Dweller, I hope there's no echo. I believe I've solved my echo problem. And if I haven't, I won't know until the end of this episode. So bear with me or don't bear with me. Stand by. I threw the dregs of my coffee into the crossroads. Now then! Juice pressed from whole, fresh, ripe, dark, sweet, black cherries. I look forward to you blessing my bowels. Cave Dweller, we're looking at this painting that I just started. Now, you may recall this painting, and it's finished. This painting is finished. But this, just 2 seconds ago, when I was online trying to figure out echo, I was looking at this painting, and I realized that even though this painting is done, I could spend several more hours, and here's a closer look, I could spend several more hours trying to perfect it. There's many things wrong with this painting. For instance, that sky at the top is actually just a ceiling. Why is it the lightest thing in the painting? I don't know, it just worked out that way, but this is a painting I painted with my knife. This dark stuff in the back maybe shouldn't be that dark, but it's the way it worked out. I was painting on top of a paint pour. Paint pour is where you take paint and you pour it on a canvas and it comes out looking like this, like some kind of lame-ass lame-ass stuff. Actually, this is pretty cool. This looks like a Steve Ditko drawing. But typically it doesn't look this cool. Typically it looks like just lame-ass marbling. Speaking of lame-ass marbling, have you ever been to the Basilica in Milwaukee? In order to have your church labeled a basilica, it has to be a pilgrimage site, and it has to have many other mandates. There's many other mandates involved in defining a church as a basilica. And this basilica in Milwaukee's basilica, everything is full finish marble. Every wall, full finish marble. Every pillar, full finish marble. Everything on wainscoting, every stairwell, every stair, every light switch plate, full finish marble. It's like somebody puked marble, and it makes me want to puke on top of the puke. It makes me nauseous. But this actually looks like this alligator here is nauseous, and he's projectile vomiting fire. Let's see if we can bring that out. Now, I'll put this painting aside for now. You may recall this painting of the Batmobile. It's not the greatest painting, but this is also from a paint pour, and I found the Batmobile in the poured paint, and I just, Anyway, so this is a guy. All right, this is maybe we should go this way. No, it's going this way. All right, put down the bowel cleanser and grab a brush. These are my brushes. This is my water. These are the only brushes I use. Sometimes I use this one. Bristle, in between, synthetic, soft synthetic. So they have different textures. These three are pretty much the same. This one is very stiff, and it leaves marks in your paint. This is for long lines that don't do a lot of bending. This is for lines that do a lot of bending. Because if you have a brush that is long, it's called a liner. This is called a liner or a rigging brush. This is just a number 4 watercolor. It's designed to go swoosh, make a giant swoosh. But if you have a lot of detail, like you're putting in nostrils or doing somebody's nose, it doesn't pan out the way you want, because that long thing doesn't bend. It doesn't flex. Or it's like painting with a bow, actually. A bow string. It flexes too much and it springs. It works against you is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, I'll work with me today. I'm going to use this paint that's been on my palette drying all freaking weekend. This paint has been here since Saturday, and there's so much magic sauce in it, and it's so humid outside that it's still wet. I'm using acrylic, and it's still wet. So just add water to weten it further. I'm going to use that to put in the alligator. Oh, the alligator's got multiple eyes. This is so wonderful. I almost don't want to touch it, but I have to touch it, because if I don't touch it, you won't see it, and you'll just be free associating your own thing, and I'm tired of listening to you talk. So I'm going to free associate my own thing, label it in there, and then you'll say, oh, it's Skrauss's own thing. I see what you're saying. So we got some yellow eyes here, and these dots look like eyes, so I'm going to try to keep an eye motif throughout this line. Yellow eye motif, white eye motif, lower jaw right here. I love alligators because they're so full of teeth, and my favorite alligator is Albert the alligator, made famous in the comic strip Pogo. He's one of Pogo the Possum's friends, and he was best when he looked like an alligator in the comic books. The Pogo comic books preceded the Pogo comic strip, and you get a rawer, more authentic version of Larry the alligator in there. He's eating everything. He just eats everything. Everything ends up in his mouth. There's one point where they have to put a ladder down his throat to get some kids out because he ate some kids. He's such a lovable guy, Larry the alligator. Anyway, so ever since then I've loved alligators. Okay, so we'll say this is the end. Now, it looks like it's not quite coming out of his mouth, this giant spew of magical fire. This is great because we have a thing going this way and a thing going this way behind it. That's very Ditko-esque. Having streak-like designs crisscross. Ditko activated the diagonal. Thank you, Disco Jesus, for this bowel cleansing cherry juice that is pressed from fresh, whole, ripe, dark, sweet, black cherries. Oh yeah, that's actually very delicious. And probably, it sort of tastes like the cap. Let me see, this was Best by July 2018. All right, let's go. Rainbow, there's a rainbow here, there's a mushroom here. This is so psychedelic. It's psychedelic is what it is really, actually. Larry the alligator. It's the greatest alligator in the swamp. Now, I saw a skeleton when I held it up to you. Yeah, okay. I can see the guy when he's really small on my screen. This guy here. I want to bring him out. Oh, he's like got a gray alien face. Okay, let's make him green then. I'm reading a book. Oh, it's time for the book review. Hey everybody, let's hear a review. Today's review is about a book I'm reading called He Will Live Up in the Sky. There it is. This book was made in the USA. Monroe, Illinois, 17 June 2020. Obviously, it's a print-on-demand Amazon, and this is written by Christopher Knowles, famous for the Secret Sun blog, which is all about connecting the weirdest of all conspiracy theories in occultism and creating a grand network conspiracy that revolves around mermaids. I don't follow it. I don't understand it. I read all his blog posts about it. I don't know why he's so excited about it, and I even asked him, because it all centers around the lead singer of the Cocteau Twins and the strange circumstances around her death and the ceremonial numbers and places involved and the weird synchronicities / meaningful coincidences involved in her death or murder. Was it a ritualistic murder? Christopher Knowles will say yes. He definitely believes that it is. So you can read all about that on Secret Sun blog. And I asked him, so what made you so interested in this? And he just sent me back a picture of the singer. And I'm like, well, sure. I mean, she's great, but I don't know if she's great. I never liked the Cocteau Twins. I always thought they were boring. I thought Susie Sue was a much more interesting vocalist. And I just didn't see the connection. And I mean, couldn't you find weird coincidences with just about anybody's death? I asked him if it was perihelion, and he's just sent me back that picture. Boom. And I feel like he got defensive. But I bought his book off of Amazon, print on demand. And can you say typo? Can you say, holy editor Batman, this guy needs some help? There's 3 times where I found a word that was hyphenated that should not be hyphenated, like the word someone, for instance. And then there's uses of the same word twice, or there's a sentence that's only been half edited. Like it says something where you just the subject is like it was moved, but then they never put it in the new spot. Things like that. Pronouns. It happens a lot. Almost every chapter has some kind of weird editing mistake, and I feel like you should hire an editor. But that aside, this book is absolutely riveting. I'm on page 262. This is my bookmark. There's not much to show here. It's just a bookmark. But this is the page number that I'm on. Is that a big deal? That's not a big deal. Who cares? Here's the back of the book. Now what am I saying? Oh, the story is riveting. I love it. It's very compelling, and even in spite of those glaring editing mistakes, and there's some darlings. He leaves in a lot of darlings, like weird, almost punny wordplay. I've been reading a lot of books where that's left in, and it makes me self-conscious about my own writing, and I realize, oh, no wonder they were always telling me to leave those things out that I thought were so great, like a string of 10 words that all rhyme. Chris Knowles doesn't do that. I did that once, and the person reviewing it actually said, this is way too much. And I increased it to 20. But Chris Knowles it's basically the X-Files in the real world. So he takes a couple of agents that work for a private security team assembled by a military ex-CIA, a guy who's being paid by the government, to assemble a team to gather remote viewers. And they spend the whole novel looking for this one guy who's disappeared. He's a rock star, and it just leads them into all kinds of waters of mystery and conspiracy and the occult. And there's a death cult, a sacrifice cult involved, which, I'm over two-thirds of the way through the book, and that cult has just been introduced. It's pretty great. So I love the characters. There's a man and a woman, and the man his nickname is Superman, and he's just like Clark Kent. He's very starchy. He's a specimen and handsome and everything, and starchy. So it doesn't swear, even when he's so enraged at one point. He takes a tire iron and he decimates a minivan. And his partner is like, whoa, but still impressed that he didn't cuss once while doing it. Meanwhile, she's a potty mouth. And I love her. She's great. I love listening to her talk. At one point, there's these two badasses that are following them that reek of death. People move away from them because their auras are so frightening. And they're in a restaurant, and they know that these guys are following them, and they leave the restaurant. And as these other guys get in the car, they pull up their minivan, and she's like, hey, fuckface! And shoots him in the head, and then shoots the other guy. Bam, bam! Just like that. Done. It was so great and gratifying. It was a great moment of action. Prior to that, the whole book has been suspense and a lot of character interaction, and everybody has a motivation and a reason. I love it. It's great. But it's a first novel. I believe it's his first novel, and it reads like a first novel that didn't have an editor. This book deserves an editor, and it deserves to be published on a larger press. Larger than no press. So I recommend you go to Amazon and purchase it, and maybe through any of us purchasing, He Will Live Up in the Sky by Chris Knowles. Maybe we can get him some traction and give him some attention and notoriety and notice from a bigger publisher who can then edit the book. Okay, so that's it, Chris Knowles. That's the review today, and the review took way too long. Let's get back to work. This painting, this is Larry. Oops, well, it's still wet. It'll probably be wet for days. I will have to hit it with a blow dryer, probably. This is not Larry the alligator. Anyway, Albert the alligator, my favorite alligator. After they reprinted a bunch of the comics with the comic book comics that had Albert the alligator in them, and where they introduced Pogo. Originally, the comic book was called Albert the Alligator. Pogo just took over for some reason. And I found the alligator so compelling and so wonderful that I created an alligator character in my own universe of Milwaukee 2. His name is Larry. And he lives in the swamp across from Monkey Island with another alligator also named Larry. And I just thought that was the most hilarious thing I'd ever put down on paper. And I was right. It probably was. So we'll just say this is Larry the alligator. And for some reason he was spewing fire. Okay, so now then, we're working on making green because there's that weird alien figure. White. Rather than looking at the top of my head, I have this secondary camera here that I can cut to so that you can see. This is called product placement. This is called product avoidance. I have this secondary camera here so that you can actually see what I'm doing. Because I often just talk about how I'm mixing colors and you just look at the top of my head. That doesn't help anybody, right? It doesn't help jack, squat, spit. This is phthalo green. This is white. This is phthalo green white. Also known as everybody knows phthalo colors a mile away. I probably shouldn't have used it. I probably should have mixed my own green. Mix your own colors is what they always say. This is cadmium. Phthalo green. I should probably... This is too warm, so I'm going to use Hansa yellow. Yeah. I'll do it again. I'll show you the comparison. Hansa yellow versus cadmium yellow. You can see the cadmium yellow. Oops. Okay, let's get a focus in here. Oh! Oh my goodness. All right. Focus. What? Ugh. They pop out of my hand. It's like they're made out of wet soap. All right, so this is cadmium. Cadmium yellow skews orange, which is to say it skews red, while cadmium or Hansa yellow skews green, which is to say it skews blue. Every color skews in one direction or another on the color wheel, and none of them are perfectly dead center their own selves. Every color seems to have a little bit of the adjacent color in it. And so when you're mixing, it's good to have warm and cool versions of your colors. For instance, I use phthalo blue red shade and phthalo blue green shade. One, of course, like I said, is warmer than the other. This is what the yellow just did to my... You can see on the top of the knife the color that it was. I can't tell if it's focus or not. There we go. Okay, so on top of the knife you can tell the color it was, and then that's the color it is. I actually just made it brighter, but at least it doesn't look phthalo. Phthalo! Okay, now... Ooh, let's smear it on. The alien guy. This is the alien guy. I actually want to... I can't really see him except when he's backwards and small on the screen. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so he kind of looks like this. Okay, that's him. Maybe he'll stay like that. Maybe I'll add something here. I don't know. I'm just winging it. Winging it. I am using wings on it. He will live up in the sky. Yeah, she just shot that guy yesterday. I was like, right on. Because those guys were a threat. They were supreme badasses. But we never got to see them do any badassery because they got killed too fast. So are they really badass or not? Nobody knows. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this magic mushroom. I like this stream going this way, and I like the spew going this way. I'm a little bit lost in the painting right now. So let's add some Prussian blue hue. The only thing I mix with Prussian blue is magic sauce, because it's a hue. I'm not going to mix magic sauce this time. I'm just going to use it straight. And subdue the alligator's nose. This is probably too much. Now I'm subduing some background details here. Let's see, this is the front of his mouth. I should give him an outline. I may actually give him a hand. And a cigar. I mean, why not? Why not a cigar? But I'm going to put this aside for now because it's not that exciting. It's not that exciting to me. Which means maybe it's not that exciting to you. I don't know. Now okay, this painting is done. Let's look at it again. I'm proud of this painting. This is one of the only paintings I've finished since I've been here at Revision Gallery. Let's look at it again. Oh yeah. It's a beauty. And it could be yours for under $1,000. This painting is under $1,000. Well under $1,000. Thank you. Pressed from fresh, whole, ripe, dark, sweet, black cherries from Wisconsin? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they're not from Wisconsin. I don't know. Okay. It could be from the Caspian Sea area, for all I know. But that juice is good. I'm working on this painting with this car here and this woman here. And what I noticed, I was looking at it afterwards, and I adjusted some of the lines to make it a little bit wonkier and a little bit more authentic, because otherwise it's just two images that I copied out of a comic book, actually from the same page of a comic book. So I drew her in sienna, in some sienna acrylic ink, and then I redrew it faster, wonkier, in gray. And there's the car. You can see the wonkier car. But what I noticed is that the gray made her look sad, and I thought, whoa, it looks like she's crying. And I like the superimposed face. I don't know if I'll be able to keep the superimposed face, although I want to. First thing I'm going to do is give her a green dress, because I have green on my palette. Maybe this is why all my paintings look the same. Alright, well, you guess you live and learn. Now let's see, we got a head here, back of a thing, which is a neck, dress, comes down. Got some boobs. It's funny to say boobs. Alright, we got... Boy, that is one stiff-necked person. It's like military neck. Alright, well, that's what you get. You get what you pay for with the Skrauss. And seeing as this is free, I guess you're getting a free thing, which means under $1,000. Now, blue. Maybe I'll make her blonde. I'll make this sky blue. Because it's night. It's the blue of night. my brush is picking up pieces of dried paint that are rubberizing and coming off my palette. Acrylic is a weird thing, man. Now this car will make the car green as well, but a different kind of green. I'm gonna mix my own green. This is what that looks like. Let's look at what that looks like. Here's my phthalo red shade, my phthalo green shade. Can you tell the difference? Neither can I. Not from that example I can't, but you can on the painting. Now let's use okay, let's go with cadmium. Making green? Yeah, cadmium. Or I could just use this. I'm going to use that. And if I can find Goddess Blue, I will use the Goddess Blue because it's... Here it is. It looks gray, but it's blue. That's why I can never find it in my palette. Goddess Blue, also known as ultramarine blue. Made from ground-up lapis lazuli. It was the most vibrant blue they could find in the Renaissance, and they used it exclusively for the Virgin Mary. Senora Guadalupe, I'm sorry that no blue was used in the making of this candle. It should have been. You have been defrauded. Forgive us, Senora Guadalupe. And this is not even yellow at all. I mean green at all. So I'm going to add more. Azo Yellow Medium. Okay, let's do it. This looks very green skewing. But this is a little tube somebody gave me and I just want it out of my palette. So it's Azo Yellow is not... They don't need that much redundancy. The difference between Azo Yellow and Hansa Yellow is so minimal, as in my experience, that it's just not worth having the tube there, so I'm just going to squander it on my... Oh, you can hardly see that, eh? There we go. Is that better? Better focus. This is green. Can you tell? It looks black. How's that? Does that look good? All right. Here's what it looks like over here. On the vehicle. Alright, so this painting, this drawing of this car, which I've exaggerated in a distorted way, I should just say I've distorted it, is it was drawn using the stage level technique that cartoonists used to often love, where everybody's standing on the bottom of the panel, as if you're sitting in the theater and your eyes are right at the level of the stage. But they put the level of the stage up here, and then put a street, a flat image of a street, which was an unusual innovation, and the reason why I copied that image. And then I had the front tire of the car go over the edge of it. It's kind of a double strangeness. I'm just gonna make this greenish. Let's go over that later. Alright, that is the green. Boy, that awesome cleansing cherry juice is growling in my stomach. It's saying, please no more. to my stomach. Is it because it's 2 years past due? It tastes great. I don't know. Maybe it turns into some kind of toxin. Or the toxins come out after 2 years? I don't know. Can you make it out yet? We're almost time to wrap it up. I haven't even talked about current events. Let's see. Current events. What's going on in current events? It's 4th of July. Almost. Pretty soon. And I have off the day before. Because the day before is Independence Day observed. There will be no fireworks this year because we are a nation and a world of fear. That stuff is delicious. I can't recommend it enough. Dietary sugars, 33 grams per serving. I just had 3 servings. I guess that's my sugar for the year. 2 grams of protein, though. Maybe if I eat a stick of butter, that'll even it out, and I'll stay keto. I won't go out of ketosis. I've actually never been in ketosis. All right, and now I'm going to use ultramarine. But that was, incidentally, that was current events. That's all I got for you on current events. If you have any news about things and stuff going on, like holidays, let me know. Now then. Oh, did I mention there's no fireworks this year? Yeah, I did. Okay. Ultramarine violet. All the buildings will be ultramarine violet because that's what they were in the comic book that I stole this from. And I'm copying this panel as just a inspiration to make a picture, but so that's where I get the imagery, and then I copy it so that I can learn to paint, so that I can figure some things out, how things are done. Maybe I should have used a different color. All right, well, whatever. It's hard to paint a picture when you don't have a source. Which is why you see painters so often on the side of the road painting barns. Just painting out of your head is difficult. Unless you've spent many paintings painting barns, you can't paint one out of your head. Yep, I've definitely overdone it with fruits today. Alright, that's alright. We'll live. I'm running out of rag room. Okay, so that violet color will have to be gone over one more time. Let's put it in the dark spot here. I have too much water on my brush. Okay, now, what color am I going to use on the road? What is the color of asphalt? I don't know. But I'll bet Johnny Peril knows. Oh, it's the same color as the building. Well, well, well. Let's see if we can do something to take this awesome stage level U shape of, it's an interlocking magnet and letter T of blue and violet. Let's okay, well, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. just because I don't know what color asphalt is, and I want to stick with the motif. Okay, so I have this blue here. Instead of just using the violet out of the tube, I'm going to, what kind of blue is that? That's, okay, so I'll use some red. So I'm going to use naphthol red, because alizarin skews blue, which will ruin, no. That might make a really good purple. All right, well, let's use naphthol anyway, just because I have a lot of it. This looks like it's super pure. The reddest of all reds. I don't know. I hardly ever use it, so I'm not sure what to expect. And that doesn't look purple at all. So I'm going to have to add some blue. The blue I'm going to add is anthraquinone. Anthraquinone. Hey, got it right. Squirt some of that on there. And now it's too blue. Oh, yay. It has a purple undertone, but I don't know, it seems so dark. I can't really tell what's going on with it. Let's try some of this. Oh, not bad at all. Not too shabby. Very dark. It is a very dark purple. It's funny, it looks so red on my palette, but it's the perfect purple on the canvas. My greatest moment of bitterness was when I invited a local curator, a local Milwaukee curator, over to my studio, my apartment, where I had a show. Invited her to come look at my work with the hopes that she'd find a place to hang my work. And she just said the most annoying junk. She critiqued how they were hung too close together. I should never mat with black, I should blah, blah, blah. And then she has the nerve to say, "Are you familiar with Robert Crumb?" It doesn't even acknowledge anything I said about the work, and just, how about making your work about politics, she suggested. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, you mean your view of politics, your hopes and dreams, political. If I gave you my political opinions, you'd run me out of town on a rail. Super glued my eyeballs to the rail and then run me out of town. Anyway, so I went to this cafe. She's been downgraded from the Haggerty Museum to a cafe. And what do I see there? Some hack who's painting enlargements of comic book panels. Doesn't interpret them, doesn't even do this little bit that I'm doing here where he put two panels together to make a scene. Doesn't even do that. Just straight copy. And no, it wasn't R. Crumb either. It was, I mean, I have to admit it was a pretty good comic. It was Barbarella. But, you know, the reason nut jobs that live in galleries and tell you to do political art like Barbarella is because ostensibly it's feminist. I don't know. Maybe not. All right, team. I added the purple to the street. That's about all I'm going to have time for today. And I am wrapping it up. Anyway, that was my biggest moment of bitterness as a gallery curator. All my work is inspired by comics. I can't, you know, I told her about the comics, the covers of comics that don't exist. I told her about improvement comics. It's where I take an original and I copy it, but just make it better. Not like I'm copying it here where I try to make it my own. It's a little bit different. For instance, I took Action Comics #1, put the guy in a suit instead of a Superman suit. Car over his head is distorted and he's throwing it off an unfinished end of a freeway off-ramp. A little bit more exciting. And I changed the name from Action Comics to Activate Comics. Boom! Right? No, goes right over her head. Anyway, Senor Guadalupe, save us from imbecilic leftists who can't see anything past just the status quo. I mean, status quo, please save us from that. There we go. Ishua Legua, thank you for opening the gates to our hearts and help us to see through them and find our way. Cave Dweller, it's been great, it's been awesome, and it's been real awesome and real great. And I love you so much from the bottom of my inky black heart, my achy breaky heart, my mistakey out of lakey heart.